Okay. I see 10 seconds. Yeah, we're on? Hey, unit, stop making stuff up. All right, hey, welcome everybody. It's Festool Friday, I know, because I looked at the calendar. It's February 24th, right, Minnie?
Yep.
Okay, and it's 2023, right? And it's noon. Right now it just turned noon. It's noon. You're watching us on YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram. Thank you for being here with us. This is the 129th edition of Festool Live. Wow. Wow, I can't believe that. It was still going. So let's introduce the room because I got a special new product for you guys to see today. All right, so over here we have Big D on the board. We have Chris the Unit Seibert on camera. We have Brent Shively online. We have Minnie right over here on the board. We have the two most unbelievably excitable dogs in the world. We have Peyton and we have Sparky. Hey Spark, how are you? No? Okay, and don't forget, I don't think I say this all the time, but you guys are so good with us and being there for us. But tell us where you're from. Okay, so, you know, when we go out and we start to do stuff on the road, we could schedule ourselves to where everybody's from. Like, I think we're going to do one from Lebanon, Indiana this year. We're going to do one from Zionsville, I think. Oh, yeah, it's the same thing. I'll definitely do one from Boone County. Okay, good. Okay, so the reason I always say, hey, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram is because make sure you hit the notification bell on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. Also, give us a follow on Instagram and like our page on Facebook. It makes a difference. It keeps me employed, and I really appreciate it. Also, YouTube, don't forget the build series that we have on there. We also have Inside Festool, and I think that's it. Shop Talk, oh my God. Yes, that's right, Shop Talk. And that's gonna be coming on hard here pretty quick. We're gonna schedule a lot of people coming up. Okay, also, in the description on YouTube, right, Big D? Mm-hmm. Okay, we did something about a week ago, and we've had an auction out 2 weeks ago. We've had an auction out there. It ends tonight at 12 midnight Eastern Standard Time, exactly a little over 12 hours from now. Be there. Check out the auction. It's phenomenal. And the money goes to Purposeful Design here in Indianapolis. It's a great organization. The link is in the description. Go check it out. We worked really hard with 12 of some of the most unbelievable makers, and they built two beautiful coffee tables, and they're up for auction. Okay, let's get to the meat of this. About 2 weeks ago, we had a PR event here, and we did a live from there, and you guys were asking for more. And I was so stoked to hear that in the comments. So I really appreciate all the comments that you send us. I want to make sure you understand this whole Festool Live, episode 129, is on the KSC 60. You might have seen some stuff over in Europe. I don't know if it's released over there. It might be. I know sometime this year, I'm not exactly aware of our release date on the KSC 60, but it's the cordless Capex. So let's go back to episode 128. Last week I covered this. This is our CTC MIDI. Did I get that right, Unit?
You sure did.
He never knows these model numbers. Okay, that's what he makes up on me. I go, hey, what's this about? And he goes, the EBKC 12581. Okay, so this is, stop laughing, dude. Stop shaking the camera. Okay, so last week we showed it was 2 batteries in the tank. It's a 36 volt. Okay, so important, right? Because we all know where a lot of our Festool system is going with cordless. So in Europe, we don't have it here. In the States or in Canada, North America, you guys have the KS60 over there. It's a smaller version. Unit, follow me over here, of this, which I just adore and love, is the KS120. Okay, the KS60 is a smaller version, and I'm going to be very cautious or very careful because I know here in the States and Canada we still use the Imperial system. This is a 216 diameter blade, which is an 8.5 or 8.5 inch. Okay, it'll give you depth of cut of 2 3/8. That's more than enough on a job site for a lot of trim carpenters doing case base, a chair rail, whatever. Okay, it is a small, compact form with extreme accuracy. It's super lightweight, and when I say that, I remember it's 42 pounds with the 2 batteries. Without the 2 batteries, I think it's 37 pounds. Okay, I will go over a lot of the features. I expect to forget half of them, because yesterday when I was setting this up, I was blown away once again at how feature-rich this system is, and it's amazing. I have gone through 2 or 3 trainings with this. I've done a couple of trainings with this, and I'm still finding out really interesting things about this saw, the slide compound miter saw. So bear with me. I'm going to take my time today, hopefully, and then I already have a follow-up of this where I will get more questions answered for you at a later episode. But I'm going to be using this quite a bit so I can compare it to the KS120. And that, I don't even know exactly what the episode that'll be, but I promise you I will come out with that so we can talk about it, okay? All right, so let's look at a few things about this. And when I talk about weight, okay, I'm just going to make sure it's all locked in. This is how, right here, Chris, if you can get up here, this is how you lock the slide. Okay, I'm going to lock the slide. Okay, this is how I'm going to push the head down. I'll bring it over here, Chris, so you can see it. This is how you release the head. It's a green tab right here. Right, it's pretty easy. I'll go over that a little bit later. But what I want to do is I want to bring it into transportation mode, because you're going to notice I'm not going to grab it by this handle. Look, it has a built-in handle. And the nice thing, and somebody mentioned this to me 2 weeks ago, it's easier to carry because you can carry it, close to the body with this handle. It's really nice. I can't believe how light it is. Hey, does anybody in this room know how much the Capex weighs? Say it, Minnie. You said 40 and you said 47 pounds. On the cat, or the stand, the UG stand, at 69 pounds. So it's still very light in weight. Okay, let's turn this so you can see it. Remember, it's a system. I get it on the Work Center, the WC1000. I'm sorry. See, Chris? You polluted me earlier. It's the MW1000, okay? I want to turn it up like this so you can see this. You see these pods right here, 1, 2, 3, and 4? Those, of course, are 20 millimeters, and those fit in here. So one of the things, I always like to listen to what people ask questions about this saw. And I'm going to do a few things this morning or this afternoon that maybe you might get confused when you get this saw. So bear with me. Okay, so these are the pods. I could take it just like this, set it right in, and it drops in those holes. Let me get it in there. See? And it just dropped in the holes. Right? You have these little tables that come out to give you more support. Oh, on the MW1000, I threw the extension table. One comes with it, but I threw another one on there. I got a nice saw station right there. Or you could build it out, and I'll go over the saw station. The UG stand, it has a special bracket or adapter plate and different extensions than the ones on the KS120. Over here, I have another one of these. But I see this all the time online, whether it's social media, YouTube, wherever, that, oh, the height of the Capex is the same height as a Sustainer 1. Okay, well, it changed. The Sustainer 1, or the new generation M1112, is the same as the Sustainer, whether Classic or T-Lock. They're all the same height. That's the only ones that are the same, but it's not the same height. Okay, aha, but check this out, and I'm going to take my time setting this up because I want to show you how easy it is. I'm going to make sure I show you how easy it is, but I'm going to turn it up, and what the saw comes with are, oh, you know what? I just thought of something. It's a system. I'm going to try something. Hang on. I'm going to take this, bring it back down here like this, and while it's in there, right, yes, you have this little piece here, Okay, see how it screws up and down? So when you have it, I'm going to release it right here. This is how I release and it actually will balance. So if I have it on a different surface other than that, that's a little balancer. It's really nice. And if I have it out wider, it'll balance so it doesn't tip forward. But I want you to see that hole in the alignment on this. So I'm going to take a traditional clamp like this. I'm going to spin it. Oh, look at that. Look how that locks the K-pex right down to the table while it's in the pods. And let me check this out. Oh, look, I still have movement. I can actually put another one here and lock it in, and I don't lose any stops on my miter. And speaking of the miter, it goes 60 to the left and 60 to the right. A lot of people are impressed with that, and that's on the miter. Also, this is how you lock the miter down right here. But also check this out, Chris. Make sure you get this icon. See this? I will be using this feature in a few minutes, but if I take it and move it, see how I have positive stops at all your top settings or major settings? If I take this, move it up, and move it over, I lose all my stops. And that's really important when you're using the angle transfer device, okay, and line up. So while we were down here, I thought I'd cover it. Now back to where I was, I'm gonna release this, get this clamp out of the way. Whoopsie, I always forget which way to turn these puppies. Get it out of there. Bring it over. Bam, get it out of there. Come on, there you go. So there's the clamp. Now, let's get back to where I started. I'm gonna take it like this, and I'm gonna pick it up so you can see the bottom, just like this. And I'm gonna reach in here, and I'm gonna grab 5 pieces. These little pods right here, okay? Bam. What these do is they elevate the KSC 60 so it does line up if I'm working on the floor or on another work table, that I can use a Sustainer 1 or an M1112 to line up. So I'm just going to take these. Chris, I'm just going to walk in front of you to get my, because I'm lazy today, I'm going to grab my CXS. See the little point right there? It goes right in here like this. And you take the screws. These are supplied with it. Okay, so I'm just going to get them set up like this. So don't forget to tell Minnie where you're from. Did anybody hear? Did you guys hear that? Minnie says they haven't. Good. A lot of people today, men?
There are.
Okay, let me get that in there like this. Wow. There we go. It's a long screw there, so just take your time. But there's another piece, because I saw somebody at the event asking this question, why do you have this? And I'll show you why we have this. So just take that like that. And one more. I was gonna have this all set up, but you know what I decided? I said, nah, let's just go through this and not rush through this, because I know you guys want to see as much as possible. Okay, and I'm just gonna get it like that. Now, I always set the clutch on this because I don't want to strip out the head. So I usually set the clutch at about 6. And you'll hear it. Perfect. It's about right where I want it. Bam. Let's go over here. Ooh, I'm gonna use this left-handed. There we go, and here we go. Okay, so this is a question I don't think is as obvious. I mentioned it already, but I don't think it's as obvious. So you'll notice, I'm going to tilt it back, that those pods line up with the pods. And yes, they go in if you're using an MFT table. But it won't be the same height as a Sustainer 1. So what I'll do is I'll set it on the table itself, and you'll see now that it's the height of the Sustainer 1. I'm going to unlock it here again, and I'm going to bring it across. And you'll see, perfect, Sustainer 1. It's not in the holes, and it lines up. So there you go. That's what those pods are for. There's one more thing that this is what the person was asking. Why do I have this long one? And you'll see that this doesn't reach down. So what I'll do is I'll just take that, and I'll tilt it back up like this. And I'll just remove this right here. So just take your time in doing this. And that's how you set up the K-pex to line up with a Sustainer one. Awesome. Right where I want it to be. Okay, now when you're lining this up, I get as far as I can, and then when I set it up, I go like this. Woohoo! I had this set up on a traditional MFT the other day, and I'll just take it, oh look, I had it pretty good, and I'll just align it with that surface right there. So there you go. And then you can take another Sustainer and put it here, and you got plenty of work surface, and you don't have to go and get the extensions. But for me, I think one of the biggest things with my KS120 is the extensions and the portability of the stand as well. So we have done that with the KSC 60. All right, whew. Next, I got so much prepared, it's ridiculous. So let's make a couple of cuts, and I'll talk about the stand afterwards. Let's do this. Let's get a small piece of wood here. Hey, Mo! Traditionally, with the K-pex, we had the tall fences. These are not needed on here. They're really easy to come off. They just come off real easy. All right, and that's important when I'm beveling the saw. So one of the things that I saw on the K-pex, the KS120, was this latch up top here. Okay, ease of use. So when I first saw the new bevel angles, I was like, oh, we went to a hand crank or a star crank and back. And the more I use this, I go, this is like the easiest one on any slag compound I've ever used. So I'm gonna loosen it here, and I can talk about this. There's a button here, so you have a positive stop at 0. All right, if I wanna go to what? The right. Okay, I push it in. And Chris, can you come over here? To the right, okay, I hit 45, but if I press it again, I'm gonna get out of here, Chris, and you'll see it goes to 46. When I bring it back, you'll hear it pop. There's the 0, it's back in, and then when I go and hit it here, to the left, it goes to 47. So it's 46 to the right, 47 to the left. I always gotta remember that. All those specs are in there, okay? And I always gotta make sure that I don't have batteries on when I'm doing this. Okay, because that's really important. Now I'm gonna put it back up, and really nice is that crank in the back. It's really smooth, it's quick. I don't have to reach all the way back, it's right in close proximity. It has the crosscut capacity, okay, is 305, so that translates to 20 1/4. Okay, crosscut capacity when I'm at 0 and 0, right? If I take this and go to 45, my crosscut capacity is 8 1/2. Hang on a second, let me check. Yeah, 12 1/4, 8 1/2. Thank you. No, not 12 1/4, 12 1/64, which is 305. I just tell everybody it's 12-inch crosscut capacity. Okay, and it's 8 1/2 at 45. So there you go. I can't remember everything. Sorry. All right. When I bring it back, oh, I already have my detents. I want to get the detent at 0. It's pretty simple. I just like it as a small compact form. All right. So remember, that's how you release the head. Okay. And that's how you lock it in. Okay. And there. Okay. I'm ready to cut now. I'm going to put these on because I'm going to cut this walnut. And I want to show you that when I first saw this, I was like, and the more I use it, the more I like it. Okay. With the K-pex, the KS120, we've had it over in the States now for quite a few years. We have a laser on there, and it's a dual laser. It's adjustable. But this is a shadow line, and I'm going to point this out. Let me just grab this next. Oh, here you go. Hey, Mo. It comes with a screw clamp. As scope of delivery of the KSC 60, and everybody's going, why a screw clamp? Well, if you notice this notch here, okay, and I can lock boards down here, okay, but there's a notch back here. Chris, I don't know if you can get this, but there's one that slides in the back. So whenever I cross cut, I always use a hold down. So I'm going to put it in here from the back, and you're going to see that's my hold down. What you're going to ask, okay, and I did right away, can you use the ratcheting clamp? Absolutely. It goes in here from the back. It works great. But there's a little bit of a situation with the ratcheting clamp. That's why we include the screw clamp. Let me show you that. Okay, is when I'm like working with like 3/4, okay, which I'll be doing in a few minutes. When I put the ratcheting in, see how it doesn't go all the way down? So what I do is I have a series of little boards here if I want to use the ratcheting clamp, and I just do a quick build up like this, and I can use that, and it's nice and steady. All right, so whether I clamp it from the front or the back, but you have that ability to do so. I just wanted to point that out to you because I like the ratcheting clamps. Let's get to what I was mentioning. Let's go to this button over here. Remember, everything's green. And you know what I need now? Whoop. Power. Okay, how am I going to show this? Chris, can you walk over here? Oh, over here with me, please? Because I want you to see this. There's a little icon on the back. This unit, not the unit holding the camera, it can work with 2 batteries or 1 battery. Okay, it does look good? Okay, now that battery has to be, when I look at this, the battery has to be on the bottom, not the top to work. That's what that icon shows. So let's step back over here, and I'll put both batteries on, and I can explain the RPM, and you can hear it. Okay, when I have it, let me get my clamp. When I have it like that, it is, I always got to check. I'm not going to look at there. When I have 2 batteries, that's 36 volt. It will be, you'll have a variable speed of 1300 to 3500 RPM. But when you have just 1 battery, which has to be on the bottom, you will have a variable speed range of 1300 to 1800 RPM. I would equate that to just about half. Okay, so let's put this on so I could show you this feature right here. Chris, come on in here. You have this. You hit the button, there's a light. Okay, now that is not a laser line, but it is wicked cool, what we call a shadow line. So I'll bring it down so you can see it. See the shadow line? Okay, that is the kerf of the blade. What's nice about it is if you get pitch on there, right, guess what happens? It shines on the blade, so it's still going to remain that kerf on there. All the kerfs of the blade are 2.3 millimeter. So that's not the variable, but what if you get pitch on there? It's going to be off a little. Hopefully you follow me on that. All right, now, when I do this, I'm just going to slide this over so you can see it. I know I'm jumping around a lot, but I'll go over the handle in a minute, but you'll see that just like that, and you'll see the curve. So I'm just going to go like this. Now, Chris, come over here just for a second, because this is something that I saw a concern of, and it really isn't. It's like when we first got the K-Pex, well, my first K-Pex was in 2006. That's when I was using it. No, my K-Pex is a 2006. I was using it in 2007. It was manufactured in 2006. I had to get used to the handle because the handle was different from me then. Now, this has something different. Now, if I need to lower the blade, okay, I press this part right here. This, okay, is a lockout switch. So to power, see how I have it down? To power it, I hit this button and then I can pull this up. Follow? Now, if I'm a lefty, which I still like the handle in this orientation, not like this, because I'm too far away, I just have to remember to take that index finger, push it in like this. And you know what? It still works great. It's just, how do you say? It's hard to teach an old dog new tricks. Well, it's the same thing when you get something new and you have a different style handle. Just take your time with it. It'll work in, I promise. Okay, so let's make a cut. Now I'm gonna kind of maximize this because I was messing with this yesterday. I love this. When we first got the lasers on the K-Pex, I was digging it because I was cutting the end grain veneer. Okay, this is with 2 batteries. You know what I got to do? Does anybody know?
Dust extraction.
What, Big D?
You gotta pair your battery.
Ha! Okay, I took the batteries off, right? Now let's pair it. Remember last week, I hit the button once, right? See how it's blinking? Look at that. One of the cleanest cuts you'll ever get. It's an 8.5-inch blade, and it's just rock solid crisp. This is how I was messing with it this morning. I said, you know what, let's have some fun with this. Let's create some cool veneer. Look at this. Look at this. And this is me just looking at the shadow line, and that's what I want to talk to you about, the shadow line. Look at this. Okay, you'll dig this, Big D, because I know you love green too. Okay, check it out. I call this owl walnut.
Wow.
Okay, look.
That's so cool.
Isn't that cool? Look at the eyes, nose, and the mouth.
Huh.
Okay, now over here it gains, look, horns or ears. Isn't that cool?
That's awesome.
Okay, so I call it owl walnut, but that's just those are like 16th cuts. And that it was so repetitive because someone says, well, how'd you get that? How did you do that? It's called looking and trusting your eye. But also, what's nice about this is when you look at the shadow line, okay, look where it is. It's also on the front. So I could just take that and eyeball it and get it right in there. And I was cutting wicked thin this morning. Let's try this one. Look at that. Paper thin. Hey, Minnie,
Yes,
do you like to read paperback books?
I do.
Okay, here's a bookmark.
Would you sign it for me?
No way. Hey, you can make bookmarks all day long. Are books still around?
Yes.
We're getting a lot of questions about capacity, like runtime.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so I had all the capacities written down, okay, but Brent did a video. I walked in and he said, get out of here one time. And this is the one I really was so impressed. Two 18-volt batteries. On a 2x8 SIP Southern Yellow Pine, he got 174 cuts. Is that impressive? It's unreal. I was watching Alan from the UK, and he got an amazing amount of cuts on a bigger board, I believe. So you get killer run times on it. I'll be doing a lot of testing at home with this because I like the weight, but I like the compact form. And in my home shop, I want to save a little bit of space. Everything is if you're in a one-car garage, okay, and you're not going to cut a big, look at this. This is a good-sized board, right? I mean, give me a break. You always have charges, right? And you have a couple of batteries, extra batteries on hand. It's wonderful. So I'll be doing a lot of tests with it in the future. What else did I want to show you on it? This is what I want to show you. Capacity with one battery. What did Rick say? They just want to see it cut, Sedge. Okay, so I'm going to do one battery, and I want you to hear it. Oh, that's weird. It is. Boy, is that? For me, guys, I will tell you, that's me being backwards. Okay, you can hear the speed, right? Okay. So this is the top. It doesn't work when one battery's, see, now that's the top when I bring it down like this. So just pay attention to that icon. I'm gonna cycle that on because I took the battery off so we get dust extraction. Always don't push the machine, let the machine do the work. But boy, once again, you're going to get the capacities you need with that with a super accurate cut. And walnut is sometimes a little precarious to cut. That's a wacky grain in there. It's just keeping right up with it. Let me get another battery on there so we can continue. This is me learning as I go. The top battery or the battery on the top here is the Bluetooth that you have to cycle. Cool. All right, so there you go.
What about stops for repetitive designs?
Right here, Minnie?
Cuts.
It's right here. It's the stops on here, Min. Okay. You have stops right here. I haven't even gone over the, okay, but you do have stops for that. And I wanted to cover that in a few minutes. Okay, we're doing good. We're doing good. I didn't see, I knew we would have a ton of questions. Just please bear with me. I'm flowing through this. I kind of have an end in mind, I should say. Because I want to talk a little bit, and this is kind of a neat feature, well, neat for me. This here is the angle finder, okay, or angle divider. And you line up your shadow line, or with the Capex 120 with the laser. Okay, I'm gonna do this because I want to make sure everybody understands that the legs come out like this. I'm gonna take it over here to that, and you see this right here? This is where it's quite a bit different from the larger Capex. You don't line it up with the shadow line. You see these little arrows in here on this edge? You line it up with these lines right here, and that allows you to split the angle. Absolutely perfect. Now, here's what the problem is. Say I'm doing a 45, okay, and there's a detent there. I may be off of 45 ever so slightly, so that is why I take that out of the way, so it's easier to line up my lines like this. Okay, and there you go. I'll just bring my lines in, and it actually splits. Chris, can you come in here and get this so everybody sees it? I can bring my lines right over here and dial in my miter. Okay, hopefully we all see that big D. Is that coming through? Good. Okay, and my lines line up, and I could take it, I bisected the angle for the other one. I was trying to wrestle this out while this, I'm gonna take it, put my detents back in. I was trying to wrestle this out right here, and it was kind of difficult to take this out or put it back. You tilt the saw, and it slides in and locks in really nice. Great feature. Okay, I covered the bevel. Oh, one more thing on the shadow line. You don't have to release a screw to clean the lens. It just pops right out. I usually blow off the dust, take a microfiber rag, clean it up. That way there, the shadow line stays crisp. And you'll hear it snap right back in. Okay, wow, still on the saw, not the stand. I'm gonna take the batteries off, just like that, and I'm gonna change the blade, because it's different. What I like to do, and I've always done this with the regular Capex, is, where am I on this? Okay, I'm going to take my bevel, and I'm going to release it, and I'm going to tilt it. It just helps me ever so slightly. I don't want the blade to drop right down when I want to start the process. I also do this. I take this and I lock the slide all the way out. Batteries have to come off, everybody. Right, now in back, Chris, we can go over here and show everybody. In back, stored is a 6mm hex key. Okay, and then what I'm gonna do is, there's an arrow right here. Let's lock that in. See the arrow? That's the direction, the spin. So I always use the arrow to release it. Okay, there's a little bit of a process here. I'm gonna press this and lift this up. Over here, Chris, sorry, I'm working you today. There's an ABBA lock right here. See it? Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my wrench, I'm gonna put it in, and then I'm gonna press the ABBA lock until it falls in place, and then I'm just gonna spin the blade off. On the regular Capex, we have the fast fix. This one I'm gonna take it off. We have an electric brake on here, electronic brake. It shuts off in 2 seconds. I'm gonna lift this up again. Whoopsie, come on, Sedge. You can do this. Now, I'd be willing to bet Garrett's watching right now. He saw me struggling with this until him and I found out that I can flip this back like this, get it out of the way. And I like to take the blade and pick it up like this and lift it out. Okay? See? And you could change the blade. Why do you change a blade, everybody? To clean it? Or, Chris, come over here, where my notes are. We offer different blades. The blade that comes with it is the 36 tooth blade. Okay? Boom, boom, boom. Where are you? Right here. 36 tooth blade. Is that 36? Yeah, let me look. Looks like a lot more. So this is the 60 tooth blade. It's yellow. See that? So that means it's for wood. We have a 36 that comes on the saw. Then we have this blade right here, which is, oh, sorry, that's the 36 tooth. Okay, yellow. We have two yellow blades, two wood blades. Then we have one for aluminum non-ferrous, and we have one for plastics and laminate. Okay, so that is why we have variable speed. You want to slow down. If you're cutting some Lexan or acrylic, slow the saw down so you lower the melting point of that and you get a really nice cut with the Capex. Okay, the thicker the material, okay, slow it down. That's the multiple material, part of the multiple material controls. So let's put this blade back on. I think this is going to be one of the longest ones we've done. And what I like to do is stand like this and tilt it so it slides in. That's got a slight taper to it. I'll bring that down, take it like that, and remember, it's a lefty-tighty and a righty-loosey. It's opposite. It's a reverse thread. Okay. So I know I'm going to be forgetting a lot, so it doesn't matter. We can do another one on this. Okay, and don't forget to store that back behind the saw. I'm just going to put it in there if I need it again. I'm going to release this and bring it back up to speed. There's 0. It automatically pops back in, and I release my slide. Okay, one more thing on the saw, because I set this up earlier today. I want to show you how to do this. In fact, I could actually, can I use this piece? Okay, so it has a notching feature on it to cut kerfs, all right, to cut dados on something. But if I put my piece, let's get a piece of plywood. If I have a piece like this, okay, and I put it up against the fence, I will leave what we call geometry of the blade in there. Follow me? Because it's a curved blade. You want to build this, or I've done this my whole life. I want to build it away with about a 50 millimeter piece. Okay, I'm going to take my saw and put it in the curve, and I'm going to lock my blade down, or my sacrificial fence down. Perfect. That way there, I cut all the way through to the back of the fence. And I'm going to set this up. I set it up earlier, okay, but here's the notching feature. I'm going to pull it forward, and it's got micro adjust on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a quick cut. Got to put the batteries back in. What do I got to do when I put the batteries back in? Pair it. Right? That's right, Peyton. Okay, so let's make a quick cut. And we're going to look at it, and that's about right for bending. Okay, I'm the same distance from here to here. You don't want to cut too close. So now that fence. Now, in the old days, I used to, with a traditional slide, I used to go like this and then come down and go like this. But what's really nice is I can actually use that shadow line like this, and I can gauge my cuts so much better because it's on that front edge. I mean, once you do a curve cut like this, nobody really sees it. So when you do this, this is perfect for radius toe kicks, okay? And like I tell everybody, I do like to cut corners. Hey, Mo! Whoop, 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 whoop. So that's curve cutting on the job site with the KSC 60. It's a great added value to this. So you can see it's quite feature rich. Also, I'm going to show you this as I look back over there. When you're using the bracket, which I'm going to go over the stand now. When I'm using the bracket is when you're, this little piece that comes with these pods is the extended one, the screw with the spring. It's the balancer, okay? The one that comes installed is when you don't have these on and it balances there. It's the shorter one. It's also the one for the bracket right here. Okay, and you gotta adjust that. I'm just gonna take this off so you can see it, and I'll go over the bracket. That's available separately. Not everybody needs the bracket, and you just adjust it and it fits in there, and that's what that groove's for. It's wicked cool. Okay, so let's cover this. It works with the same UG stand. Okay, but for it to go onto the UG stand, you have to get one of these. And one of these being the bracket. I'm gonna get here so we can see this. Big D, do you have this on the description? Mm-hmm. It's the UGAD KS60. Chris, you're gonna remember that, aren't you?
No way.
Okay, so this is what I want you to see. These are 4mm screws, okay? What's nice is you have an adjustment 4mm hex that stores right on the bracket with your Capex. Okay, underneath we have this knob, green knob, and that green knob is to store blades. I think I have a blade stored on this one. Yes, I do. Okay, so you can store extra blades underneath. Here, when we look from the top, these, which we removed, and placed them in these holes here to lock them to these green pods. These green pods are these knobs here. Okay, and Chris, hopefully we can get this. These are leveling feet inside the pod or the bracket. We also have these brackets here, and this is where the extensions mount. Okay, the extensions are different. Okay, and I'll show you why in a minute. So you have to get the extensions for the KSC 60 stand if you want the tape to match up. Okay, so it comes in metric only at this time. I'm going to hold on to this so I can show you, because I've seen people not struggle but not understand. I want to level this deck, this turret, to this. I don't want to slide, and I leveled this yesterday, I don't want to slide material and catch it on here. I've seen people try to level this to this. No, that's not what you want. In my eyes, this is my opinion, I want this level with this with no catch. So I'm going to get a good straight edge, which I have right over here. Okay, and you'll see it's right on. Okay, just make sure, like I had yesterday, I had a burr on there, I had to remove the burr. But you just don't go and start turning these, because what happens is you need to put a little bit of play in them, which I do right here to get the movement, just a little bit. And Chris, I'm gonna exaggerate this so you all can see. But you'll see as I move this up and down, see how that moves up and down? So I could take that, let's look right here, and I can adjust this right to the deck. Sometimes you might want a little bit off when you're doing that, but some people want it perfectly even, so you can dial it right in. And then what I do to lock it in is then I tighten this. Hopefully that makes sense. I hold that knob and tighten it, so now it won't move. But you have to mount the Capex onto the bracket and then level it with your extensions. Okay, this is why the extensions are different. It took me a couple minutes to understand this. It's because of this little black piece. You don't have that on the regular Capex. It mounts right to the Capex, so you have this extra distance. Will the Capex extensions fit? Yes. But will they, will this scale be accurate? No. So this scale is accurate to the side of your blade. It's calibratable, like we've shown before in videos. You can calibrate this scale. It's wicked easy. It's 4 screws underneath here. You have a repeatable stop here. That's what the question was earlier. I finally got to it, Minnie. Okay. I probably answered the question already, which is great. I know I'm forgetting a lot. I apologize. We could go on and on and on. Oh, here's something I thought was wicked cool. Come over here, Chris. A lot of people, oh my God, there's so much comments online, not just on our saws, but all saws and miter saw stations, where I used to see people all the time take a straight edge, and this came about in one of our end user classes once. They came up, and Chris, come on up here so we can catch this. They said, Sedge, why isn't this even with this? And I go, it never should be. And they go, what do you mean? And I said, well, have you ever cut a large piece of molding and it's warped? You have to push up against here to take that warp if this is completely, or that crown is completely in line. You always push it back a hair or two. That way there you compensate. You don't want to cut into a bow of a piece of molding. Hopefully that makes sense. But what we would always say is, how much should you push it back? Well, what I really like about these stands, okay, or this bracket is, see that? That's a registration point. So I'm automatically gonna tell you when you put that on, I'm gonna kick that leg out. You can push it right up against there, just like this. By the way, these stands have all the adjustability. I've gone over these in former or previous Festool lives. But see, now I have my registration point and the stop still works. Whew. I think I covered just about everything. I've probably forgotten some, and I apologize. But hopefully I did cover what we needed to cover today. I'm just going to look around the room really quick. Whoop, 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 whoop. Yep. Remember, everybody, please remember, when we started coming out with cordless saws, cordless jigsaws, I'll never forget, I was changing a blade once on the Carvex, and it cycled on. And it scared the living daylights out of me. And I said, every time I show people how to change a blade or adjustments on a cutting tool, I will always remove the batteries. Please do so. Think safety first. Okay. Boy, Minnie, you've been writing, haven't you?
Yeah.
Oh. See? It wasn't that I was stalling, but there's a bag. Okay, so if you don't have a dust extractor for the job site, you want to capture the lion's share, it slides right onto the back nozzle. It's fairly effective, okay?